Nobody was a stranger.
Yeah, did you guys both go to Madison, or you guys went to separate high schools? Okay.
I left at 13. My dad said when that boy walked across the street, he was like, "Oh no, that'll never happen again."
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I guess about Madison, was there predominantly black staff, or did you see a lot of black teachers, or was it mixed?
No, there was not a lot of black teachers. When I started in 9th grade there wasn't a lot of, I think it was a 40-60 split as far as students, black, white.
Okay.
It was 60% white, 40% black, and when I graduated, it was the reverse.
Okay, yeah, 60%.
And then they started getting teachers in Madison when I was there, black teachers. They had some, but it wasn't a lot of black teachers.
Yeah. But at least you got to see your teacher, and then you're in the neighborhood with like a black professional. So it's like, even now, like, we don't see that, we don't see our teachers in our neighborhoods, and we don't see enough black staff in our schools either. So it's like,
well, Dr. Lunsford and they had their house. That's where their office was.
oh wow.
Yeah, you come walk in the front door and you sit right there in the foyer. He had chairs lined up.
With them.
And Jordan too was down further near Plymouth.
Right, but they operated on their home.
Talk about the people. We didn't mention the intellect that was on Clarissa Street. Talk about the music, the people, the socialization. But there was intellectuals on Clarissa Street. Bobby Johnson, your cousin. And then there were others. There was somebody who went to Madison who became mayor of Berkeley, California.
Oh wow.
There were people there who contributed not only in music and art, but also intellectually. And I want to mention my friend Marvin Johnson, because we were at opposite end of Clarissa Street.
Yeah.
And Marvin and I graduated from Madison together, and he was ranked 35 in the world as a mediator.
Wow.
So there's intellect that came through there.
Yeah.
And I mentioned him, but there are others. There are others ahead of me, behind me.
Even yourself. They're pretty decorated.
Well, when I decided to turn on again.
Yeah. To go from dropping out of school at 2 years old, working at
second grade.
Second grade. I'm sorry, not 2 years old. No, second grade. And then taking your Regents exam and then going on to become a doctor. Those are big leaps too. I think that's really impressive to me. Yeah.
I didn't have no choice. She was pushing me.
Yeah.
I like nice things.
I
I like nice things. I thought all guys' children like nice things.
Yeah. We don't like nice things. The women we like nice things.
Yes.
And we end up getting the nice things.
Yeah, but you benefit.
Yeah, you do too. Yep.
Yes.
Right.
So would you ever move back to Clarissa Street? And if so, what would you want to see, like, to recreate the experience?
Well, I don't think you'll ever recreate it, because you're never going to have the oval lots, the ones that were the cornerstones that started it all. And we don't have large families like that anymore. That Velat family, there was 12 children.
Can I share something? I'm one of 13.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I'm the second oldest of 13. Yeah, I come from a pretty big family. Yeah.
But, in Louisiana, yes, we had big families, because farming took a lot of time. You had to get up early, to do your work before you went to school. For sure. So it is what it is, but I don't think you'll ever hear the sounds coming out of those on a Saturday night walking down the street.
Yeah.
And just as you walk past a business, the sounds that came out of that business,
Right.
Out of Dan's, out of Shep's, out of the Elks.
Yeah.
You'll never, the musicians are dead, those people are gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it would be nice if it came,
like
if it did, it would,
sure.
I would move back there.
Yeah.
I would move, Cornhill. I'd live in Cornhill.
And would you?
Culture, I was just going to say, culturally, I don't know how you would recreate it. The street is there, but the culture, the black culture that was there, they had, when I was growing up, the Elks had parties for the kids. All the hot dogs, all the pop you want, potato chips you want to eat. And that was right there on Clarissa Street. They had other things, you know, the adults did things for children there. So that's the key. The adults ran Clarissa Street, not the kids.
Right.
Okay? See, now the kids are running it because I'm afraid to go out.
Yeah.
Okay? Because, you know, they shoot through the house, they're shooting, you know, the carjacking. Well, nothing like that. It was just a good time. And like you said, the people coming, you could hear the sounds coming out, it was laughter.
Yeah.
And black people having a good time on a Friday and Saturday night after they worked all week, you know, and then letting off some steam. So that's what it was about. And
Yeah,
so
because it was, you get off work Friday night, you go to the hairdresser Friday night. Yeah, and I'm serious. You go to the hairdresser Friday night after work, so that Saturday you ready to get dressed to go out.
Yeah.
Clarissa Street.
Yes.
That's beautiful. All right. We're going to move on to the historical context. So, could you guys tell us what else was happening in Rochester that affected the neighborhood during the time period between the 1940s and the 80s? Were there any issues that you observed, and how did they affect you and your neighborhood or neighbors specifically? So, like thinking about something like it's like the July '64, just like events around that time. How did that?
The riots.
Yes.
The riots.
Yeah. So were there any issues that you observed? How did they affect you, and then how did they affect your neighbors on Clarissa?
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. My mother was one of those. Let's go see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go see.
Yeah. And we get in the car. But we wouldn't tell my father we were going to do this because we were going to see the aftermath of the riots.
Yeah.
So we was all down Joseph Avenue.
Right.
Oh yeah, you know, asking people what would honor would they, you know, our mother get right off into it. Yeah. She was quite a character, my mother. And we went down there to see. You know, but I mean, Petey and Petey lived right where the helicopter crashed. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Petey lived on Clarissa because my aunt lived on Clarissa, my Aunt Eva. Because we used to have to go over there once a year to Aunt Eva's house. That's my father's aunt.
Yeah.
And she was a real old lady. She lived on Clarissa Street too.
Yeah.
Further down. That woman, I mean, I would get physically ill.
Yeah.
Because she scared me. She had this big old house on Clarissa Street. And she was this little old lady. And then you could hear, she rented rooms, so you could hear the people walking all night long upstairs. And they were men. She never rented to women. They were always men. And I was like, aren't you afraid to be in here by yourself? And then you'd have to come out of her bedroom into this living room area. And you had to go through this darkest dining room. I mean, it was dark.
Yeah.
Broad daylight, it was dark.
Yeah.
And she was in the kitchen, and she'd be just talking away, and I'd go in the kitchen, I'm like, nobody there but her.
Yeah. Just talking.
It's time to go home. It's time to go home. Oh, yeah, I got physically ill once. They had to come get me. I was like, I'm through with this. Yeah, she was just...
How about you?
I don't
Go.
remember. Things that were going on in Rochester that shaped my community.
Yes.
Racism. And it was the best community because of it.
Yeah.
See, the black professionals couldn't live out in the suburbs. So they lived in the community. So you saw them.
Right.
Okay? They couldn't buy in Brighton, Penfield, Pittsburgh, the other places. So that shaped our community and gave us our own resources.
Yeah.
So whatever we wanted to do, we could do. You know, we got it done. Through Montgomery Center, the Elks, any number
To your
of...
white friends. James went to predominantly white school, you know, Fisher. And I went to West around the court. So he had a good friend that he played basketball with, Tim. And my best friend was white, Linda DeStefano. And we applied for an apartment through Rochester Housing Authority. Didn't get it. There weren't any available units available. So we asked Linda and Tim to go down and see if they had any available units for them.
Right.
And they did.
Right.
So then my husband went and met with Stephen May, the mayor at the time, and wanted to know how come some people could get an apartment, but we couldn't get an apartment. And he said, what do you mean? He said, I got two white people just went down there, and they said they had apartments. He said, we got a rejection letter, nothing available. He said, oh, really? Rochester Housing Authority was open.
Yeah.
We had an apartment. But that's what you had to do.
You have to even get a home.
Yeah. You know, you had to have somebody white go in, so you had to have a white friend
Yeah.
to break, to break down that initial barrier to get, to even get, just the Fernwood Park is, I mean, it's not luxury housing,
Yeah.
but it's well kept, and they were built, after World War II, and
Yeah.
and they're still solid brick constructions. They're good, clean places to live. There were no blacks in there.
I was just so one of the questions was, did your community suffer from redlining? But you said it kind of improved it to a certain degree by keeping professionals in, right? And then, can you guys talk a little bit about the highway and how that affected the neighborhood as well? The inner loop.
Think of California and Palisades Park.
Yeah.
Burned out. I can't walk through my neighborhood either. It's gone.
Yeah, burned out.
I mean, I empathize with them, but I have some feelings that's the thing that I miss. I can't walk down the streets that I grew up in, and around.
He can't go back and look at any houses that he grew up in.
They tore down. Well, I was ahead of the wrecking ball. So when we moved out, they tore it down, and so. But that neighborhood, like I said, the only thing that's standing there is the church. But those are all houses around that church.
Yeah.
And my friends. And so that's where, Fontenette lived right up the street, and our other friends lived all around there. So when that came through, two things about that. One, State Street, where the overpass on State Street is in the inner loop. Well, I played on that when it was sand with my toy truck.
Yeah.
I was helping build that. But now they're starting to close it down, parts of it down.
Yeah.
So can you imagine my thought process? They built this for me, because when they got it built, I was about ready to drive, get around the city. And now they're tearing it down. I guess my time has passed. You know what I mean? You should have been gone.
Well, they put up more apartments, and so they need green space.
Now.
So I mean, it begins to look a lot like the suburbs in DC. Maryland. I mean, they're just condos and high rises, one unit right after, and then you have green space. That's it.
And circling back to the 1964 riots, how old were you when that
14.
whole 14? What about
15.
you? 15? So, when it first happened, were you aware of what happened?
It had been a steady boiling pot of consistent racism. And it just boiled over one day, and it just boiled over.
Wasn't it at something across town? Wasn't it a dance or something?
Yeah,
And things got out of hand over there, and then the next night it was on our side of town, the west side of town.
Well, it just kept rolling.
Yeah.
It just didn't stop. It just rolled.
The thing that I learned from that, and then it's just a sidebar.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how big them damn tanks were.
Yeah.
And they came down my street, and the guy on the top is looking in the second story window.
Right.
Okay, I get it. You win. Don't come up here with that shit.
No.
They had tanks rolling down, ClarissaSt Street.
Yeah, and they were marching down our streets.
Yeah.
So that's how it affected us. I mean, we've seen it, seen the response, but also, a lot of my friends were there at the looting. Not that they were looting, but they got the pictures taken, that sort of thing. So.
Yeah. People had to. I know people like to jump in front of the camera,
Right.
especially in those times.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was there.
How would you guys say police-community relationships were?
I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna jump in and say I thought they were good because my friends' fathers were police officers.
Right.
We had no problem with the police.
Yeah.
If he want to jack you up by your collar, he jack you up and then call your parents.
Yeah.
And they jack you up. And that's the way it went. No problem with the police.
Policing felt like policing, and it didn't
Yeah,
feel like
back then, yeah.
Well,
they
you
were
had
there
two
serving
black
for
police, policemen that came up the ranks, and then
Carter.
actually it was a family of them. The
Stevens?
Prices,
Prices, yeah,
Stevens
Prices.
and Prices, family of them came up through the police department. So those were the people, and they grew up in your community.
Right. That's a
So
big
you
part of
knew
it.
Herb Carter.
Yeah.
You know, so when my brother got in trouble, you know, my mother called Herb Carter. You know, he went down to the jail to see where my brother was.
Right.
You know, and my brother had done something stupid because they asked him. We went to a concert at the War Memorial, and he was 18, 19, you know, smelling himself. And they said, "You want to ride home?" "No, I'm gonna catch a bus." He hooked up with 2 other people. Don't you know they walking down the street, and for some reason, these 2 people decide to rob this white kid walking down the street. And they pull out a knife. Well, my brother just walking with him. Here go doofus. Doofus.
Yeah.
So they had, you know, I mean, they had to get, you know, they had to pull out the big guns to separate him from those other 2.
Yeah.
So they separated him from, they didn't even have the same trial dates. But when you got money, you can do that. Because them other 2 went to trial by themselves,
Yeah.
together. You know, so, you know, it's money talk and bullshit walks. You know?
So the police officers' children, I went to school with.
Yeah,
you didn't
Diane
talk
Carter.
about,
Yeah.
you didn't talk about the police officers because you'd be talking about somebody's father, your friend's father.
Yeah. How would you guys feel like, I guess we talked about this a little bit earlier too, like youth-elder relationships. How did you feel like the relationships were with young people and older people at the time versus now?
Well, I thought they were great. You know, versus now. Now, you know, I wouldn't put a young person in. No, not as far as I can throw 'em. No, I just don't. I don't know what's wrong with them. I really think there's, you know, something is wrong with them mentally.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what happened, what's lost. I don't know if it's the mothers or the lack of the church, but there's something lost in the black community that we had and we don't have anymore.
I think it's just a sense of community altogether. I think that's what's gone. And then also the depravity. I think like people are deprived of like all the things you guys talk about,
Basic
right?
necessities.
Like all the things of like even like seeing role models, seeing professionals in their neighborhood, people buying businesses in their neighborhood, people owning their homes in their neighborhood. That's not a thing, you know. A lot of people don't own the houses, a lot of people rent, a lot of people can't open business in this area, they don't have, so like it's that aspect of community and being able to take care of each other that's missing. And there, I mean, yeah, we could try to think about how we can make that happen all day, but I think that's really what it is. That sense of like self-sustaining community is what we're missing for the most part. But yeah, you wanna?
So, let me see. And with the riots, did it like accomplish what you thought it would, more or less?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
I thought it accomplished. It was time for a change. It didn't have to be in a riot, but it was necessary, and that's what it took to bring about the change. You know, fair housing, decent jobs, you know, decent living conditions, good schools.
Yeah.
You know.
Just being able to go to college,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that had an impact.
And I tell you right now, I mean, because I worked for the Rochester City School District for many years, they graduate 35% of their seniors. What do you mean 35%? What have you been doing?
Yeah.
And you picking up a paycheck every week? I don't get that.
Yeah.
You know, you get a paycheck when you produce.
Yeah.
You know, walking around with a coffee cup and the kids sitting in the seat, or you send them to the principal. No.
I like the principal's office. I got to go there a lot.
See, I never seen the principal's office.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about 2 people that are just totally opposite.
Yeah.
We are how we got together, I don't know. And we got together at 14. 14 years old. Yeah, so that's
We'll celebrate our 56th wedding anniversary. Won't we?
well, he 56? No.
55?
They're 71.
70.
70.
That's so long ago.
Yeah.
I can never remember the dates.
Okay, yeah, just to follow up on that. Did you guys feel the same way about the Black Lives Matter protest that happened here recently around George Floyd and Daniel Prude, or even like more recent, the incident that happened with Robert Brooks with the Utica police? Do you guys feel like, do you see any similarities in this story, in today's protests versus the one that we had in '64, or the riot, I guess?
Well, yeah, I mean, after a while, I mean, everybody has had some incidents, you know, you get pulled over for a speeding ticket. You don't expect to lose your life. You know, you just don't. You know, and when you have, that's anarchy to me. Shit, I mean, when the police done went crazy and they killing civilians,
Yeah.
it's anarchy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's lost. You know, the president talking about, you know, let all these people out of jail that were convicted. That's anarchy. You know, you do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, it's interesting. How do you feel about it, James? How do you feel about it? Do you feel like, what do you feel about the protests? I mean, do you think they're effective as I guess the riots were in '64 to a certain degree?
The riots were a separate issue.
Yeah.
I mean, a separate incident, okay? What we had was the 50s and the 60s on TV.
Yeah.
So we saw civil rights, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, you know, all across the country. That was what was on TV.
Mm-hmm.
So I see it as the progress made during the 50s and 60s, I benefited from, okay? Because I graduated '67, people graduated '66 didn't have the opportunities I had. And I got into 2 schools.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
Out
all.
of the 50, yep.
But '66, you didn't even have that.
Yeah.
'68 was when the U of R opened up to blacks. Okay, and that, again, that comes out of the riots and kinds of problems we had. But the U of R, I'm trying to think, U of R up until '68 really didn't accept blacks unless you could get into an Ivy League school. Then they looked stupid, because you can get in an Ivy League school and the U of R is not going to accept you.
Yeah.
Something's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get in, if you could get in an Ivy League school, but they weren't accepting us. It was 71, I got a job at Brockport as dorm director in Thompson Hall.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
You know Thompson?
I had class in Thompson Hall. now to like we have class in there. It's not the dorms anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it made a difference because in 70, I graduated '71, I got that job in '71, so there were so many blacks on campus.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? The White House became the Black House. Okay, they had a lower White House at Fisher.
Yeah.
There were so many of us who said, we're going to take that.
Yeah.
So we took the White House and made it the Black House. But that's what happened in '71, that all the, 72 or so, that all these people were let into school.
Yeah.
And so Brockport opened up. I never did get accepted by Brockport, undergraduate or graduate
Right.
school. They ended up accepting me by some jerk method, but I went to the University of Texas instead. I got a choice.
Yeah.
But no, I think that things changed a lot as far as blacks going to school. In fact, let me put it this way. They were on the corner of Jefferson Avenue and Champaign handing out applications.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay, because the federal government said, if you don't get some blacks in here,
hit this number.
quotas,
Right.
we're going to cut your funding,
Oh wow.
the federal dollars.
Yeah.
Well, Brockport, U of R, they were on the corners,
Yeah.
and they had
And
people hiring people to help you fill out the application.
Yep. Yeah. Now that's a full-time job. It is. To help people with their college applications. But no, that's an interesting way to put it. And like historically seems like a lot of black people in Rochester, especially like around now, have went to Brockport, and I just wonder if they know like the history of like how Brockport was, and even like U of R, like, you know, a lot of people look to go to that university, and then like it would be, maybe they'll feel a little different about it if they knew how hard it was for us to get in those schools, like in the past, you know, because you make, you know, you're into like there, and you give them their accolades and whatnot, but like to not be accepted because of your skin color is kind of, it's wicked. And there's a lot of intellects in that, like in Rochester around that time too, so it's, you miss out on that, you know, for them. After ClarissaSt, you want to ask? I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. So, pretty much Was there a specific reason why you moved out of the Clarissa Street community?
Because I think the more affluent you got, you was running too.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, was running too.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have loved to raise my girls in the community that I lived in, but hell, I'm not risking them getting shot at because they're walking down the street.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's, you run your black professionals out of the community.
Yeah.
You know, people who would have loved to come back and did things, live there, and as well as do things there. You take your life in your own hands.
Yeah, 100%. And then you guys also mentioned earlier that most of the houses were kind of, run down, or like they were hard to live in. So I mean, that probably added to it too. If you had the means, you would go and get a nicer house wherever you had to go, right?
Money was gonna stop that, and the redlining. So you just really still could not go and do that.
Yeah.
You know.
What you're saying,
And, Cornhill. I worked at Rochester Psychiatric Center. When you talked about what that interloop did, the number of blacks who owned houses who were admitted to Rochester Psychiatric Center because of depression. Now, not a lot, but I happened to look, and I seen, that wasn't my next door neighbor, it was a neighbor over from me, and I seen she was here at depression because how hard it was to get a house if you were black. You finally get one, okay, you figure you're gonna die in it, and they come and take it and tear it down. So I don't want to give it
renewal.
Come on. So it had an impact, mental health impact on the black community
And
for some people.
do you think like your life would be different if you stayed in the Clarissa Street neighborhood and if they didn't like do the urban renewal?
I mean, if it was like the old days,
Yeah, because everything is, it's a desert, back in the old days you had Star Market, you had, what was the other one, Wegmans on West Avenue, you had Star and Jefferson, Bullheads at AMP, you had grocery stores, you had drugstores.
meat markets. So
stuff's gone.
It was all, and like Sandra said at the beginning of this, it was in walking distance if you wanted to, and you would have planned to be out on Friday or Saturday night on Clarissa Street. And you would have known who was coming to the Pt3, that somebody you want to hear or not. You could actually go out to dinner on Clarissa Street. There were a number of places, white tablecloths, restaurants.
Well, even Velat's had a dining room.
Okay.
Formal dining room. Tablecloths.
So I would have loved to have stayed in that community because of, all my friends were there. And all the things I like to do were there. And it was in walking distance of downtown. I was 6 blocks away from downtown. That's another thing I want to just mention, the sidebar. She never went downtown. Like she said, she was always
in the house. Okay?
I was downtown every day.
And I look at it's like downtown, really? And you were in the stores? We couldn't go to the corner store.
Forget about downtown.
Hanks, the corner store. We want an ice cream cone. She get a half a gallon of ice cream and get some ice cream cones and bring it home. We were not allowed out. They were going to groom and raise you the way they seen fit. And what they thought was important and what they didn't think was important didn't cross your path. And that's basically how it was. I didn't even go to Girl Scouts. Now, my brother was a Boy Scout. I wasn't even a Brownie. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. And then at the time, my hair was, I could sit on my hair. It was long and it was pretty. And most of the Velat women, they had long, pretty hair. And they rolled it. They rolled it and put it in a bun or something, but they'd roll it, because it was so long and really nothing you could do with it. That's why we keep it short now.
It's nice.
Thank you. I like it too. It's easy. So, have you finished questions?
We have a lot of notes here.
Okay.
Oh, I am so sorry.
That's
How
fine.
do you think Rochester itself would be different today if Clarissa Street was never torn down? And then also, could this be part of the differences you see with the youth today?
Yeah, I think it's part of the problem because they don't have a sense of community. You know, they took them out of their neighborhood schools and they just dispersed it. This busing, I never understood any of that.
Yeah.
It was nonsense to me. You know, you live in that community, walk to school, come home.
Yeah.
You know, these kids are all over the city.
Yeah.
You know, you get bullied. You know,
That's that one.
you're someplace else. You know, you're not in your neighborhood to get home.
Yeah.
You know, so there's no sense of community anymore. That's gone. You know, these kids are just struggling. I mean, I feel like they're just keeping their head above water.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, we used to go home for lunch.
Yeah, like from school.
Mm-hmm.
Could you go walk
back?
back?
Yeah, yeah. Walk back after lunch.
Yeah. No, that's what I was mentioning earlier. Like, I feel like if, you know, most of the people had a reason to stay, if the professionals had a reason to stay, if the athletes had a reason to stay, there could have been a lot more development of the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And it could have stayed black, it could have stayed as cultural as it was, had we not been, basically forced out for this, you know,
Urban
highway.
renewal.
Yeah, and urban renewal. Yeah,
Urban
yeah.
renewal.
I think how do you guys feel about that? I think
Urban
about that.
renewal?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Victor lost his house, my uncle.
Yeah.
He was across from Nathaniel Rochester. They told him they were taking his house. Gave him $8,000. House is probably worth about $500,000 now. Gave him $8,000. Told him and never tore it down. Still
Yeah.
standing right now today. Part of the Cornhill neighborhood. A lot of my relatives lived around there. I mean, they had very nice homes, you know, and they gone. You know, and then, you know, they moved out. You know, white folks were running to the suburbs and black folks started running to better schools, more easier to get around. You know, if you had a car, you could get to any store you wanted, you know, as opposed to having to leave your community to go to a store to come back to your community.
Yeah.
You know, I have a thing in my head, I want to go to a grocery store before I go home. I don't want to pass my house
Yeah.
to go to a grocery store. And that's just a pet peeve of mine. You know, and I'm sure millions of people have pet peeves.
Yeah.
But, you know, they can't address them. So you keep piling those pet peeves up and pet peeves. They become a big peeve. And, you know, after a while, they just... That's what happens sometimes. They just let go. You know, and it's a sad situation, but if we don't get a hold of our youth, I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't know what's going to happen. It's a scary situation.
Yeah, what do you guys think is the lesson, I guess, here between just the Clarissa Street and where we are now?
I think it's nice to have a record of history of what it was. I don't know if it will never be what it was. But I think you can take some of the examples of what it was and start to rebuild. You know, like my cousin Connie, you know, I mean, they told her a black woman couldn't run for public office. That's what the Vermonts told her.
Connie Mitchell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Calvin's wife. Yeah, Connie ran for office and won.
Yeah.
And won. You know,
Yeah.
yeah. You know, but that's you know, you got to get involved in politics. I don't think people, you know, the youth are not involved in what's going on. They don't go to city council meetings, so they don't know the plans for the city. They have a 5-year and a 10-year plan. You know, and if you don't know what's going on 5 years, well, the city got a plan for you for 5 years from now and 10 years from now.
Kind of lost. Civic engagement is important.
Yeah, you know, you operating at a loss. You're at a disadvantage because you don't know what's going on. You got to go to those meetings. You got to go to those. You got to go. You got to run for office. Trust me, they will elect you. They will elect you.
Yeah. Yeah. So
No,
it's-
but,
yeah, that's
but if
very
you don't
easy.
run, you know,
You never know.
never know.
Yeah.
And what are y'all thoughts on the Clarissa Uprooted documentary and exhibit? Was it anything that you think still needs to be told, or like anybody else missed?
I don't think anybody else was missed as so much as to find some of the old pictures. Now that would tell the story.
Yeah.
You know, some of those old pictures.
Thank you guys so much for your time
Oh, yeah,
and,
sure.
and your story. And it's nice to hear from every individual. And like you have a lot of like stories, and then the other people we talk to, they mention the restaurant a lot. So it's nice to get the almost like direct story from a person that was there.